Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode number 257 of the Chris Rose Rotation, a production of John Boy Media. Well, unfortunately, not everybody's team can make the playoffs, but for those of us where those dreams come true, hell yeah, it feels good as I welcome in my catcher of the Cleveland Guardians, our good friend here at John Boy Media, the one and only Austin Hedges. What up?
Oh, man. Life's good right now, Rosie.
I know. Feeling really good, I imagine. So I'm curious. You guys made the wild card with the walk-off win last week against the Twins and celebrated, and you should. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're making it as a wild card, division winner, the 1 seed, 2 seed, it doesn't matter. Long season, grind, you should celebrate. And then you guys came back and did it again over the weekend in St. Louis when you officially clinched the division. Whose call was that? Because I don't know if I've seen a team celebrate twice.
Well, we had the conversation for a while just because, the likelihood of making the playoffs was real high. And then obviously we were already in first place, so we knew we had a decent chance at winning the division. So we kind of talked about like, okay, do we celebrate getting in? Do we celebrate the division? Do we do both? And I mean, I think the pretty unanimous decision was, I mean, you can't take this stuff for granted. You never know when you're going to make the playoffs. You never know if you're going to win a division. And each time you do one of those things, you got to celebrate it. You got to pop bottles. I remember last year in Texas, we popped bottles the second to last day of the season. We needed to win one more game. We would have won the division. We lost that game. If we won, we would have popped again and then flown home instead of having to go on this crazy long road trip. So the way that I saw it was, both these are the first two goals of the season. It's get in, it's win the divisions, then it's win the World Series. So, we got to pop bottles anytime we do one of those things.
All right. How much fun is it being in those celebrations? Most of us are never going to have the experience. What is it like?
It's so much. It's so much joy and excitement, like all just like bundled up into a really intense 5 minutes. After about 5 minutes, it kind of dies off a little bit. But that first 5 minutes, there's a lot of champagne. If anybody hasn't experienced a cold champagne brain freeze, it's not fun. It hurts. I mean, there's sometimes, you're maybe mid-interview with somebody, you're talking about this great experience that you had, and someone asks you a really good question. And then the boys just come up and they're dumping champagne all over you. And this is the worst brain freeze you've ever had. And then you got to answer a question and not sound like an idiot. So there were some times where I'm like just trying to focus. I'm like, okay, like don't say something stupid, but like this stuff hurts so bad.
Goggles or no goggles?
A little combo of both. Goggles to start, I think, just because it burns. But Corey Seager used to say you got to earn the burn. And, when your eyes are burning from champagne, that means he did something right. Not everybody gets to pop bottles at any point during a season or even in their careers. We got Alex Cobb on our team. He hasn't made the playoffs in like 10 or 11 years after making it like his first 3 or 4 years, I think, in the big leagues. So, like, this stuff's really, really hard. So that burn, let me tell you, that burn is real, though, too. The the brain freeze and then the burn it's real, but, it's worth it.
All right, more from Hedgey coming your way, but first, we've all been in this situation where you're running late, there's no time for breakfast, you're starving, racing to meetings, you got practice, you got school pickups, doesn't matter. You could be in between podcasts as well. But what if I told you there's a delicious, nutritious meal that could be ready in seconds? That's where today's sponsor, Huel, the world's #1 complete nutritional brand, comes into play. With over 400 million meals sold worldwide, yeah, you heard me right, 400 million, Huel is trusted by millions of people looking to fuel their days with convenient, complete nutrition. Designed by experts to provide all the nutrients your body needs from a meal, Huel takes the guesswork out of healthy eating. And taste delicious. Huel shakes actually taste like a milkshake. They come in delicious chocolate or vanilla, plus they're low in sugar. Had one the other day when I had to run to the airport, didn't have time to eat. I just threw that bad boy down. Tasted great. Chocolate's my flavor. And you know what? My belly was full well into my flight, and I felt great. So try it for yourself today with this exclusive offer. You're going to get 15% off with the code ROSE at Huel.com. That is 15% off, HUEL.com. Use that code ROSE. Unlock a healthier, easier way to eat with Huel. Nutritionally complete meals in minutes so you can focus on what really matters. Was there one guy in particular who was the life of the party that maybe you didn't expect to take center stage?
Dude, you know who was really excited that one of the funnier things that I saw was Emmanuel Clase. I watched this guy. So one of our like team songs right now is Rocky Top. It's just like Tennessee song. We do it for like Lane Thomas. I don't know. It's ended up being like really fun for us, and we play it. It's now the second song we play after wins a lot of the time. And so I guess Clase kind of learned some of the lyrics. Maybe this guy was singing along to Rocky Top, and I feel like I like stood and I was like, we got Emmanuel Clase singing Rocky Top right now. This is like this is incredible.
He knew the words?
I mean, he could. I think he could sound out like Rocky Top, Tennessee. I think he got that part at least.
That is great. Highly unexpected, but I love that part. You, of course, did take center stage, and this is after the first celebration. So when you guys had the walk-off win against the Twins, and you made this interesting little toast to your manager.
I think it belongs to one person in this room. In the new heavyweight champion of the world, Stephen Vogt! Love you guys! Fuck the Twinkies!
Oh, boy, there's a lot to unpack right there.
Oh, what a video.
So what hits you first when you see it?
Just how much Stephen Vogt means to me and to our group. That guy, from the second he got the job, just hasn't changed one bit. He's so under control and poised at all times. And I know how I know how hard his job. I mean, I can't imagine how hard his job is, but I know at least a little bit through getting to talk to him about it. I'm lucky enough to get to at least pick his brain as he's been making so many tough decisions. And just hearing it from him, like he has to make tough decision after tough decision, tough conversation after tough conversation, every single day. And for your first year to really not let any of that get to you, despite what any of the media says as we're struggling a little bit. I mean, it's just the guy is just a hell of a human being, and I've had a handful of really good mentors in my life, but he is near the top of the list. That guy is someone I feel like whatever he does, how he goes about his day, how he communicates, it's just like that's a perfect role model for any young man. And so I feel honored to be on this team with him. And what we've done has been, obviously we got a really good group of players, but that leadership starting up top is really that's the secret sauce.
In the sabermetric world in which we live, a lot of people think that managers don't play an important role in today's game. They feel like the lineup is set from up top. It's an if-then scenario with the bullpen. Try and convince us why Stephen Vogt has been so important for Cleveland this season.
It's there's not a metric for the energy and the vibes throughout the day. If it's a 7:00 game, we get to the yard, between 12:30 and 1:00. So there's at least 6 hours in between or before the game. Then you have time after, say you're on the road, then you have after the game in the clubhouse, on the bus, back to the hotel, all over again. It's this constant cycle of constant interaction with the same group of guys. And if you have one of those guys is off, is bringing bad energy, doesn't want to show up that day, that spreads a little bit. And that's going to happen, right? But the awareness of how to nip that in the butt immediately, or really not even let it get to that point through constant communication, through kind of noticing little things before it becomes a big thing. That's what a good manager does. And this guy is Voter. He's not just going up to players or coaches or front office guys. We're talking staff members. We're talking trainers, strength coaches, nutritionists, the analysts behind the scenes. This guy is making sure all of them are on the same page, that all of them feel needed, feel necessary to bring wins to us, which they do. Every single day, there's a different type of person, a different analyst that brings a little golden nugget like, hey, this is something little that could get us out of this big situation. Or it's like making sure the strength coaches are motivated and knowing how needed they are to, make sure the boys are healthy and strong and equipped to go make a deep run in October. And when all of those guys, those staff members, analysts, players, coaches, when everyone feels like they're contributing to the day, to this team winning in this ultimate, this ultimate team goal, the energy and the vibes that each individual brings because they feel that is, that's the thing you can't measure. And then it trickles down all the way to the players. And when the players are doing that same thing, you just have this freedom to actually be the best version of yourself. A little bit cliche right there, best version of yourself, but what is that without everybody else? Like, it's not really up to you that many times. Like, it's too many days in a row to be that same person. But when you have 25 to 80 people impacting you in a positive way every day when you show up to the yard, man, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to overcome the hardships of the season. And I think the idea of it, why it works so well, is the longevity of the season, is how long it is. If it was a shorter season and there was less time together, maybe you manage things a little bit different. But this is just about like, how can we make today matter in a sport where it's like Groundhog Day every day? And it's a long answer, but that's what Stephen Vogt does.
So what you're telling me is, and I don't need you to finger point here, not every manager is that way in the bigs?
I think there's 30 different experiences happening in the big leagues at all times. 30 completely different ones. There are some that are a little bit similar, and then some that are opposite ends of the spectrum. But I've been on, and I only say that because being on 4 teams, but being in the league for 9 years, I've had 9 different experiences, not just 4 different experiences. Each one is different. Each year is different because something's going to happen that gets you off of your plan. You get punched in the face at some point in the season, and how are you going to respond? And that's kind of what dictates the experience you're going to have over the season. And how happy everybody is to show up to the field is such a big deal. If you have that, everybody thrives. If you don't, it sucks. And there's so many places in between where you can be like, man, it's going really well for us. We got a really good thing. But if a team is even better in ways that you couldn't even imagine, like that difference right there is why we just won 5-4, and you don't know why or how we won 5-4. There's just something to it.
I don't know if you've seen this clip. This is Stephen Vogt talking about your team, and I want you to react to it right when it's done.
That's the kind of stuff that this team does.
Get a little emotional. I mean, you're proud of the way they play.
I love these guys. They're so much fun to watch. They love each other. They work hard. That was an emotional night. And to see 2 teammates come together like that, that's powerful.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it. I've talked to him about it too. It's said like how cool that moment was that day, that night, that game. Manzardo's moment there. But it was just such a perfect moment to kind of describe our season up to that point. And a guy like Kyle Manzardo is not coming up in a big moment like that, dying to hit a homer for the boys, not dying to hit a homer for Kyle Manzardo, dying to do it for the boys, for what we are pulling for. And if I was Vogt, feel like I'd be in the same way. Like everyone was emotional. Like we're so proud of each other because we care so much, and he cares so much, and so like being a part of that. Like I feel like everybody felt that exact same, just like overcome with joy that you know you're going to shed some tears. Like that's what this is all about. Like I've cried plenty of times on a ball field after games, mostly after big wins, big moments. Like you just, I mean, you can't script it any better when you talk about stuff at the beginning of spring training, and God, the season's so damn long, man. And all it takes is one swing to make all that work feel like it's worth it.
I wonder where this changed, though, man. Like, I've been covering the sport 30 years. There's no way you would have seen a manager crying. No way. And not only is it acceptable, it sounds like what you're describing is in that clubhouse, it was appreciated.
More than appreciated. It's not the first like emotional conversation we've had as a group. It wasn't this big shock. We're an emotional group when it comes to figuring shit out together, whether it's going good or especially when it's going bad. We have our hitters meetings, our pitchers meetings, our anytime we come together as a group, they can get emotional and like, hey, we have no choice but to figure this out. So what are we going to do? What are we going to just commit to? Because there's no one just guarantees us to go out and win today. We might go play our best game. We might lose, but all right, boys, like what are we going to commit to? And what that is so clear and obvious, especially when that's voters' way, which is, we're going to do this together. We're going to do this for each other. And when you have that type of, when that's what's guiding you, all that weight on yourself to have to do anything, anytime you get a case of the have to's, I have to do this, like that's a bad place to be. And most teams have a lot of individuals that are in that place where they have to do this. Where our group is more about like, what do I get to do for the boys? And that just creates a clearer perspective and a clear state of mind, whether it's in the batter's box or on the mound, to go execute your plan.
All right, for most of us that like collecting cards, the idea of spending $2,000 or more on something like a Luka Doncic or an Ellie De La Cruz or Patrick Mahomes rookie card, it just simply isn't in the cards, right? You might love collecting, but that's some serious money to drop. But thanks to slab packs from arenaclub.com, now it's possible to score gem mints for a fraction of their retail price. Every card that I listed was hit from last week's Arena Club slab pack drop. Now, Arena Club is the only repack that provides real value, a complete view of all possible cards, clear hit rates for each one as well. I can't tell you how many times my buddy Plouffe, who's really big time into card collecting, will say, hey, I got this guy, I got that guy. In fact, we pulled an autographed Cade Horton from the pack that they sent us. And so Plouffe, he's going to be a happy, happy camper. The Arena Club grading process, it is accurate, it is fast, it is transparent, full grade rationale provided, and explanation of how your card was scored. So whether you're buying or you're selling or you're trading or you're displaying, Arena Club is the card collecting platform you simply have to check out. And right now you can get 10% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/rose. That is arenaclub.com/rose. 10% off your purchase. Enjoy. Is that why you were so pumped up when you hit your second homer of the year this year? Like you were flying around the bases, and I watched the dugout react to that. Like it was almost like it was your first major league homer, and they were just so excited for you. Like, was it an emotional trip around the bases for you?
So you don't pay attention to my career homer totals, apparently?
Oh, yes, I do.
Well, that'll tell you why the boys were so excited right there.
Are you serious that that's the reason? I thought it was something sweet, and all of a sudden it's because you guys are a bunch of sophomores in high school making fun of the number 69?
Yep, exactly. The boys even celebrated for me after the game. David Fry had, so it was like a couple weeks after Clase got his record-setting save, and we did champagne in the clubhouse, cheers. So David got champagne glasses, filled them up with beer, and we did a beer champagne toast to celebrate my homer. I got the ball authenticated. I got my jersey authenticated, the whole thing.
Is there a part of you that wants for you to hit pause on your career home run total and you just finish with that number?
Oh, that's what's going to happen. I told everyone, like, if I do it, like, I'm going to miss home plate on purpose. Sorry, boys.
Seriously, you are a sophomore in high school. It just hasn't changed. That's incredible.
These are the little things that keep us going for 162 games. Okay, like if you can't have a little fun doing that, then like you're going to be miserable playing this stupid game we play.
Besides you, who's like the biggest like fun dude? Like you're like really like all the shit wrapped into one.
Our whole group is so good. We love messing with each other. So we do this thing on the bus called the hotline, and a lot of teams do it, where basically everybody texts the guy on the mic on the front of the bus, making fun of each other. It's all just anonymous, so it's I'm on the mic, so like I'm not going to say who it's from, but it does get a little weird because the boys know that I know. Like if you send something messed up, like I know who said it. So we have a brilliant person on our team. His name's Cade Smith. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he has the statistically best pitch in all of baseball. So he's good at baseball. Also, he was going to be an eye surgeon. I don't know if you know that about him. Mm-hmm. And then, so he's brilliant. He's maybe the smartest man alive. So he made a website so that so the whole team can text whatever. It goes to me and it's actually anonymous. So I have no idea who it's coming from. So we sit on this bus, like wherever we're going from, plane to hotel, and I'm talking, if we have a 30-minute bus trip, I'm getting 120 messages of us just absolutely wearing each other out for no reason, complete made up ideas. And it's just it's a roast. It's a team roast. And so like, you ask who is like me in that sense, like our whole group loves being like that and messing with each other. Unless we cross those chalk lines, then it's time to do business. But otherwise, it's a lot of messing around.
Give me an example of one thing that gets texted to you.
So since we are a young group, basically myself, Matt Boyd, and Alex Cobb get made fun of for being really old. So like it'll be things like Alex Cobb used to throw to Yogi Berra.
It's cute.
I don't think I can say about 99% of the things that we say. We take the line and we cross it by a million miles. So,
Thanks for the PG version.
That was good.
Yeah, much appreciated. Are you paying attention to what's happening at the bottom of the wild card since there are 3 other teams from your division in this race?
Absolutely. I think it's so cool because I feel like for many years the AL Central doesn't get a whole lot of respect. And now, tough to say it's not the best division in baseball. There's not any other division that has 4 teams right there in the mix trying to make it. And, obviously the White Sox are having a tough season, but that's 4 good teams. I remember we got done playing Detroit a couple months ago. We got done with them early, and we beat them. I think we beat them. We won 7, they won 6, and the whole year we're like, man, like everyone was like, you guys just don't play the Tigers well, and we're like, dude, this is a good team. This is a really, really good Tigers team. They play. Honestly, they're kind of like us. They play good baseball, and the Royals, they play good baseball. There's a reason they're tough to beat because you have to go play a clean game against a team that knows how to play ball. And so I'm pumped. I'm proud of our division. It makes us feel really good that we've been on top of the best division in baseball all season. It shows us how good we are, and it should show the world how good we are as well, despite what I think maybe a lot of people that doubt us.
As fans, here's what we do at this time of year with 1 week to go. We're like, okay, well, being the 1 seed would be really cool, but maybe there's a better matchup if we're the 2 seed. That way we'll play this team and that team. Do you guys pay any attention to any of that shit?
You only pay attention to it when you can like kind of control it, if you can. So it's like our first goal was not to win the division. Our first goal was to get to the playoffs. So it's like winning division was great. It's awesome. We'll always remember that. But the first goal, we just got to get in. So we got in. That's great. Then it's like, okay, now that we're in, it's like, okay, let's go win this division. And then, okay, if we win the division, like, let's try and get this first round bye. Before we can even think about the first round bye, though, we don't even care about that. It's like, we don't care if we get a bye. We just got to get in. Now, if you're in position to do it, it's like, let's set ourselves up, have our pitchers go face, ideally it's our 1-2-3 facing a team's 3-4-5 or 4-5-1, whatever that ends up being. And so obviously I think the most important thing, more so than we'd love to get the 1 seed too, right? Get home field advantage. But at this point for us right now, it's just, I think our magic number is 2 for the first round bye. And that just means you don't have to go play a really, really good team in the best 2 out of 3 series.
So I always love it when teams say, well, nobody believed in us. Like it's so cliche, even if like you're a favorite sometimes. Well, nobody believed in us. But this is a team where I think you can really say it. In fact, I didn't pick you. You guys know I love you. Like, this is my favorite team, and I didn't see this happening. I thought somewhere between 78 and 84 wins, something like that would have been a solid season. And you guys are blowing past that. You've won the division. You're going to get a bye, all of that sort of stuff. Do you guys talk about that when people don't believe in you?
I mean, in every clubhouse, MLB Network or something is on all the time. And when you just, out of the corner of your eye, you see a little Guardians logo, so you pay attention a little bit. And then when certain people, I'm not going to say any names, but when certain people open their mouth and just have terrible things to say, we're like, nice, dude, thank you. We're going to remember that. Like, really, like, that's how you feel? Like, despite watching us play baseball all year, it's just like, no, it's the idiots in the media world that if they don't know your last name, you automatically aren't a good team. We don't have a team of a bunch of names, but we have a team with a bunch of numbers. Just go look at the numbers and go compare that, and it's like, oh man, that's a really, really good team. And especially going into the playoffs, that's a really, really good bullpen.
Ooh, you see that? A chill is in the air. Leaves falling to the ground and football everywhere every weekend. That's what fall is about, and you can make each weekend even more exciting by getting into the action with our partners at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet on touchdowns. And right now, all new customers who bet just $5 will instantly get $200 in bonus bets when you use the promo code ROSE. Stay in on the action and use your $200 in bonus bets to bet anytime touchdowns on DraftKings. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, and new customers use promo code ROSE and bet just $5 on any wager to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code ROSE only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
There's a very specific formula I think this team has in order to advance in the playoffs. I mean, you have to have a lead after 5 innings. And because the team doesn't hit like some of the others that will be there in the postseason. Doesn't mean it can't. It's just based on the averages, right? I mean, we know that. But when you do get to the 6th inning as a catcher who's out there leading a pitching staff, and you know that you have only lost 2 games all year when you have led after 6 innings, that's got to be comforting.
It is. It's been the formula for a long time in the playoffs. I think like the teams that have gone in and like could tell, like, when's the last time someone has made a deep run in the World Series with just 3 starters or 4 starters that go like 8 innings every time? And it's like our starting pitching just carries us. It's like, well, like chances are, as good as you're going to be, the best starters are going to be around that 100 pitch total in the 6th inning. It's like, okay, like what's the difference of the 5th and the 6th in that situation? It's like, it's about the bullpen and it's about timely hitting. And so like, I think that's what we do. We have timely hitting, and then we might just need the lead through 3 innings because we have 7, 8, or 9 dogs back there in that bullpen that have all pitched in leverage, have all pitched in big situations and big games. And, the beauty of the playoffs is you never play, what do you play, 2 on at most, maybe then 3 in the CS and World Series. Like, you get those days off. Everybody can pitch. Everybody can pitch every single game. And, I wouldn't want to face some of our arms back there.
Well, it starts with the guy who finishes the game, Emmanuel Clase. And we've talked about him before on this show. but he is having a legendary, like you put the numbers next to Dennis Eckersley the year he won not only Cy Young, but MVP in 92, and they're right there. I mean, right there. Is he the best pitcher you have ever caught?
I think he's, through this amount of time, he's the best pitcher ever. I think he's the best pitcher ever.
Hold on. In the history of the sport?
Yes. Through 200-ish innings, he's the best pitcher ever. I would love to compare the numbers. He's better than Mariano. He's better in, which is like, I don't know how to compare to anybody. Just for, if you need 3 outs, that guy, that's the best pitcher of all time to get 3 outs. Right now, he's got a long way to go to be the best of all time, right? Because longevity matters. But at 26 years old, with these numbers and that many innings, and I mean, we're talking about he needs a few more saves, got to beat Helsley. If he does, that's 3 years in a row leading all of MLB in saves, which has never been done before. We're talking about a 26-year-old that only keeps getting better. I mean, this guy added a new pitch essentially this year to shape his cutter even more to the bottom of the zone at 101. He's throwing cutters and sliders at the same speed. And the command is just, it's unbelievable. And he wants to pitch every day. So yes, I would hold firmly to that he is the best pitcher of all time through this amount of time.
Do you hear guys in the batter's box like muttering to themselves sometimes when they have to go? Yes.
They'll just tell me, no, I don't want this at bat. No, thank you.
You've had guys tell you like, I'm good. I'm tapping out like I'm good.
I mean, like many, like multiple, like 10 plus, 15 dudes, maybe more.
Well, what do you say to them?
I just laugh at them. I mean, but I know I'm like, I can tell you what pitch is coming too. You can know exactly what pitch is coming. You're going to hit it really weakly forward. He doesn't punch out everybody, but you're just going to hit it 48 miles an hour off the bat, and your hands are going to hurt after. It's insane.
You must have a great relationship with Clase.
I love that guy. I really do. I really love that guy. Him and I get along real well. I feel like I can help him. Just I'm aware. I feel like I'm maybe apparently one of the few people that's aware that he is actually the best ever. And I just don't want to see him get bored, because guys that are that good can get bored and then take pitches off, take innings off. And he's so easy to motivate. You give him the right look, you give him the right, my broken Spanish, just to fire him up, just to remind him how good he is. And he loves it. And then he's just right back out there. And, since really getting to know him in 2021, he has matured so much too. He's really grown up as a person. And I think that's one of the reasons he's had so much success. I think he's right where he wants to be. He loves being in Cleveland. He's one of the boys too.
I mean, the Guardians did a hell of a job getting an extension with that guy. I think he's making like $2.5 million this year and is just as dominant a reliever as we've ever seen for a single season. Good. So happy he's on my team. That's all I can tell you.
Yes.
It was interesting. You mentioned something. You said I could tell people what pitch is coming and it still wouldn't matter. Not sure if you caught this story. The Minnesota Twins got rid of their 6th round pick. He was a catcher in high A, I believe, and was just sick of the long season and wanted to be done with it. And his team was in playoff contention heading into the last week of the season. And he got caught telling the other team what pitches were coming from behind the home plate. His team found out from the other squad and said, hey, there was something fishy going on. And they released him. This is a 6th round pick. And they got rid of him. Could you ever accept a guy onto a team of yours knowing that history?
You're allowed to forgive anybody. I'm not going to say absolutely no, but that's as bad as it gets. That one's tough, because the way I see it is it's basically taking money out of your teammate's pocket, out of your boy's pocket, your pitcher's, that's whatever level they're at. That guy on the mound that you are now giving away his pitches, that guy is probably going to give up some runs, and that's going to look bad for him getting called up to the next level and the next level. And that's how this business works. You have to pitch well. You have to play well in the minor leagues to make it to the next level and eventually to the big leagues. But you have to have results. And so you're messing with people's careers and livelihoods more than anything. And that's just unacceptable. That being said, I'll never be the one to say that you can never forgive somebody.
What would you say to that kid if you had 5 minutes with him?
Just something like that. Like that's how this league works. This league is more of a fraternity. Our players union is a really big deal, and it means a lot to me. And the brotherhood that we all have as players, as the whatever 750, 800 active big leaguers, and then the guys that have been there before. That's a fraternity that as a group we take very, very seriously. And we're always looking out for each other first and foremost. And when you have that type of mindset, I think that's what our league needs from players and the guys that go on from being players to have coaching or front office jobs in this sport. Because if not, then that's what pulls us apart, and then and then the league can kind of take over.
I'm always curious, when other catchers come up to the plate, it looks like you guys spend a little more time talking than just the regular dude who steps into the batter's box. Is that because there's like this kindred spirit between you guys? You go through so much, whether it's foul tips, hot, sweaty days with a ton of humidity, guys who can't find the strike zone, they keep bouncing balls in front of the plate. Is that what it is?
There's something like that to it. The only downside of the pitch clock is the dialogue between players is almost gone. You just don't have time. So you get in there, you acknowledge each other, but if you do that any longer, you're going to get a strike or a ball called against you. So sometimes it's actually a little bit awkward because there's sometimes maybe a guy you want to have a 8-second conversation with, and you got to stop mid-sentence and like I got to call this pitch and try and get you out. Like, good to see you, but I hope you strike out.
Is there another catcher in the league that you like to say hello to or something? Like you guys go way back?
Plenty. There's plenty. There's so many that I have so much respect for. My favorite might be Salvador Perez. He's probably, I tell people, he might be my favorite player in the league. I love Salvador Perez. I think he's the greatest guy. I think he's the greatest player. And so every time I get to see him, I'm always excited to just say what's up to him.
And he's got a great voice. What does he go? Hey, Edgy.
Yeah, he's so funny. He's so cool.
I love that. Not sure if you saw the C.J. Abrams story of the Washington Nationals. Sent down, not performance-based. He reportedly was in Chicago and was out all night at a casino. Got done at 8 a.m., had a day game at 1 o'clock at Wrigley Field. Once again, we don't know if this was a multiple offense thing, if they had told him, hey, clean up your act. So part of the deal is that people are like, oh, he broke curfew. Let's get this out. There is no curfew in Major League Baseball, correct?
No curfew.
Have you ever been out late at night and then had a game the next day?
More times than I'd care to count.
Have you ever been out late at night and then had a day game the next day?
More times than I care to count.
Were you ever sent down because of it?
Never.
How did the team handle it?
Well, most of the time you just try not to get caught. But at the same time, like, just, you got to post. You got a game to play, you go post. Like, I didn't feel the greatest necessarily yesterday. We popped champagne the night before and we won the division. So, and we had a day game the next day in St. Louis. It's hot out there. It's muggy. Like, that's tough, but it's like, so what, dude? Like, post, get your body right, get your mind right, hydrate, do what you got to do, and you go play. Now, if you're out there and it's clearly you can't physically perform because of it, now we're talking about a really bad look. Now, if you show up and you're clearly not even trying to get yourself going because you were out the night before, that's a really bad look. The only thing that matters is that you were there and you were, about the version that you are to go be prepared to play a big league baseball game. If you do that, no one cares. But if you don't look like you're ready to play, I don't care if you got 20 hours of sleep the night before. It's the same offense. It's just about being ready. No one gives a fuck about if you were out the night before at all. It's, are you ready to play the second the game starts? I don't care when you got to the field. You could have showed up 1 minute before. If you were ready and you were clearly ready and you were capable of being, one of the better versions of yourself, go ahead and do whatever you want.
In your opinion, and we're not here to pick on the Nationals, whatever, they made their decision. Would they have been better served to put him on the injured list with some sort of fictitious injury, find him, and said, hey, listen, clean it up. You're our lone all-star. We need you if we want to turn this shit around. But you can't be doing that. I don't even know if you can say that. He's an adult.
No. Yeah, no, exactly. He's an adult, and you talk to him about being ready to play and see if there's anything going on. But you also say, hey, buddy, like you're playing shortstop 160 times next year. Guy with the 3.5 WAR that hits 20 homers and 30 bags. Guess what? You're playing every day. And they don't have a whole lot more guys like him. The guy needs to play every day. They need to handle that right so he can play well. And I don't know. Not handled very well from a player's perspective.
Okay. His ex-teammate is now your current teammate. That's Lane Thomas. He was one of the moves that the Guardians made at the trade deadline. He comes over. He was having a solid year, very good since May. Not a ton of power, not as much as he had last year, but he came over, and then he was virtually like invisible. I mean, he just didn't get it going the first few weeks. When you're around a fellow veteran like that, were you there to encourage him, or were you just like, hey, listen, everybody goes through this shit. He'll figure it out when he figures it out, and we'll be there supporting him the whole way? Or did you talk to him?
Lane and I have a great relationship. He fit in with our team perfectly from the get-go. And there just was never really a sense of panic from him. That's the type of guy he is. Like, he's a hell of a ball player, and he's had amazing seasons in this league. And what he's doing right now, as hot as he is, like, that's the guy that we knew we were getting, and that's what's in there. And that's what he expects out of himself. But this guy showed up ready to work every day. This guy was getting to the ballpark before everyone. He was trying to get onto the field, do earlier batting practice, just really get his work in and focus, like mix up some of his routines. But there was never a panic. Like, there was just another day, gonna keep going. And there was never a doubt that he was going to come out of it. All it took was a couple hits. It's tough to get traded to a new team, and especially a good team, a first-place team, and be like, okay, am I one of the guys? Now do I have to live up to who I got traded for? All these things are distractions, and that takes a little bit of time to feel comfortable. And I think luckily, for him is we have such a good, welcoming group that the boys love Lane immediately. And like once I think he fully was like, bought in, like, this is where I am, this is where I'm meant to be, like, this is my group, now I can just go play. I think that's what we're seeing now. It's obviously it's a testament to Lane, but it's a testament to our group as well. And I think in how supportive we are through good times and bad.
I know you said the TV's always on to something baseball in the clubhouse. How much did you pay attention to Shohei's 50-50?
Oh, yeah. That's so cool. That guy's the best player ever. It's unbelievable. I mean, like, there was no doubt in my mind he was going to do it. Like, when we played them in LA, if he got out, it was a fly out to the wall. Those are all of his outs. If he hits the ball, it goes to the wall at least. I've never seen anything like it. I don't think anyone has.
How thankful are you that you're playing in the same era that he is?
I mean, I feel so grateful to play in this area in general. Like, the amount of, GOATs, if you will, that are currently playing, there's so many of them. There's so many, like, greatest at their position ever, or at least arguably at really every position. So, like, this is the best baseball's ever been. The depth in this league right now, the amount of good teams, like, everybody is really good. So I think we're seeing baseball is in such a great spot right now, especially from a talent perspective.
Who's more of a freak, Judge or Ohtani?
Gotta be Ohtani because he can still pitch. I mean, like, I've faced him, like, he's as good as it gets on the mound. So to be able to do that too, and we don't get to see him play defense, but I guarantee you, if you threw him in the outfield, he'd win a Gold Glove too.
If the Dodgers haven't completely ruled out his return, but could he really go a full season without facing a major league hitter and then have to get critical outs in the playoffs? Like, Would you feel comfortable if you were trying to catch him?
If we're talking about doing it with the greatest player to ever play baseball, yes. Yes. You can't compare him. There's no prior records or prior anything to be like, well, this guy did this and this guy did this. Well, no, they weren't Shohei Ohtani. If he feels like he can do it and he wants the baseball, it's yours. Here you go. You can go pitch out of the bullpen for an inning every now and then, or you can open for us, throw a couple, and then get right back to hitting, baby. That's we're talking about the greatest ever. So, yeah, no, like, whatever, if he can do it, I would give him the ball.
You'd have no hesitation, huh?
Not even a little bit. Bro, he's the best ever. What are we talking about? Like, we can't compare him to anybody.
Well, I get all that.
I'm going down with him. Especially, every team wants to make a bunch of runs in a row. Ideally the Dodgers, I'm sure, want to win a bunch of World Series with that team. But, like, if you have the chance to do it in any given year, it's all in. All in. Doesn't matter what the repercussions are down the road.
That's pretty cool. Well, listen, it's your day off. I've eaten enough of your time. I appreciate it as always. I cannot wait for this to get started. I don't know what to say, dude. I'm so excited. The whole Rose family, we're ready. We've grinded with you all year, and this is like the best part now.
This is it. That's why we do it. October baseball. There's nothing better.
I want to thank you. I want to thank our amazing producer, Robbie Scirocco, for getting this done as well. For Austin Hedges of your Cleveland Guardians. Well, maybe if not yours, certainly mine. I am Chris Rose. We will see you next time here on the Chris Rose Rotation, a production of John Boy Media.